Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us for this press conference with Mark Boucher. As usual, I'd like to remind everyone to please ensure that your monitors are muted and to please stick to one question per person at a time, and to put your request to ask a question on the chat panel. Who would like to kick us off? Thanks, Firoz.
Thank you. Hi, Boucher. Hard luck. Boucher, I understand from what Temba was saying in the post-match that it's been difficult to put your finger on inconsistencies and people are just kind of not sure about why these kinds of things are happening. But I imagine there must be some theorizing around it. What have you guys thought about? Like, what could it be because of?
Today, I think we got off to a good start. I gather you're talking about New Zealand, first of all.
Yeah, and just things like beating India and then losing to Bangladesh in ODI.
I think there were deeper issues in New Zealand. I don't think that MIQ helped us out too much, having spoken to a couple of New Zealand players as well. They actually lost to Bangladesh after coming out of MIQ as well. So, that was one thing. And, it's not an excuse because I think we could have been a lot better. With regards to this game, I just think we lacked intent. We got off to a very good start with Puni and Yanaman. And we went to sleep. It's certainly not the way we want to play. We wanted, after a good start, we wanted to come in and bat with a lot of intent and sort of take the game forward. And we just didn't manage to do that. Yes, they bowled well, but I still think that you've got to take some risks along the way to create scoring opportunities. And we didn't do that. It was almost like we're going out with a fear of getting out rather than going out to set a total, which, for me, having a look at the way the wicket played was over 300. So yeah, the intent we just lacked, and it just spiraled into a proper collapse, which was the undoing of us.
Stuart, and then Khanyisa Tienes.
Thanks, Superkazi. Hi, Mark. What are the areas in the one-day team that you feel need, I guess, refining? Is it and improvement? Is it the case of changing players or style? Where is the thinking as far as what the one-day side needs?
I think belief in the way that we want to play. We go to Sri Lanka and we play well. Our guys play spin well, but then we come back to South Africa and in conditions where it was turning a bit, we just go back to the old way of playing. So, we are still having a lot of chats and trying to get the guys to believe that, this is the way to play spin in conditions that are turning. I don't think our conditions are like they used to be. Was really in Indian sort of conditions in our home country, and these conditions as well, the ball's turning a bit. So I think it's a belief and a faith of going out and playing the way that we want the guys to play. As I said today, we want them to go out there and be proactive, and they just didn't do that today. We've been working on shots, shot selection, all that type of stuff. So the guys know that they have the armory to do that, but it's one thing to understand that you got it, but it's another thing to go out and actually execute. And there seems to be a little bit of a block and a little bit of fear of getting out rather than going out there and understanding that the game's about runs and trying to put the fear of failure out of your mind rather than actually going out and trying to take a game on.
Good evening, Mark. I hope you can actually hear us because of the noise here at the stadium. I'm hard luck on the results. What seems to be the problem in procuring results in ODI Super League matches? Because the India series wasn't an ODI Super League series, but you played very well there. But as the numbers show, at the point show on the log, that there's seemingly a difficulty in winning ODI Super League matches. Are you able to put to explain why that's the case?
No, I think we lost one game against Ireland where I think there was a bit of fatigue that had been there coming from the West Indies. So we were on a high, and then we, sort of hit Ireland and we lost the game there. So that's one. Holland got rained out. We played well against India in one-day cricket, and we bowled really poorly in the first game against Bangladesh, and we had a major batting collapse today. So I don't think it's about just because it's for championship points. I think there wasn't that sort of pressure. We understand that championship points it's over a longer period of time. We've got to play some decent cricket along the way. But I don't think it's necessarily because of the championship points. I think it's just we outplayed and we played really poor cricket at certain stages in the series.
Hi, Mark. You mentioned the guys played well in Sri Lanka and then came back, and then in South African conditions, it looks like they're going back to the old way of things. What is that old way, and what are the differences with regards to what you try and incorporate in the team?
So I think if you look at where we've come from, we always had a problem playing spin. We worked really hard on trying to score all around the wickets. So we brought in reverse sweeps, we brought in sweeps, laps, all that type of stuff. You would have seen in the World Cup, a lot of our guys were playing those because I believe that is the way to counteract spin. Be nice and aggressive, but also smart. We did it against India. Certain players did it against India. I think Rassi was really good against India in Paul, where he took the game on like that, and I think it changed the whole state of the game. We got up against Bangladesh. Their spinners bowled really slowly at us. So it's always going to be difficult to just run down and hit the ball over the top. So we've got the skill set to do it. I just think that the belief was maybe not there in that it's the right way to play against this type of bowling, and also maybe a bit of fear of failure of maybe thinking we're going to get out playing it when it's actually the right way to play. And the belief should be that if we do play one or two of these shots, the scoring can open up and the field can change, which opens up a lot easier as sort of singles. But we didn't want to play it, which is surprising because I think the guys were seen it work, but we almost just went into our shells this series.
Ken, and then we'll finish with Telford.
Mark, how does a team go from beating India 3-0 to losing this series? I mean, you've mentioned words like intent and belief. Is it purely a mental thing? Just the wrong sort of mental state?
I think it's more mental than technical. As I said, I mean, we've lost one or two guys who have been playing really well for us. A guy like Aiden is out of form. So we were put under pressure at the Wanderers as well because we only played 5 bowlers. But Aiden's quite an aggressive player as well. So, his form has been worrying. And then you sort of get other guys into the team to do a job as well. And I suppose there's also things in the back of their heads saying, this is my opportunity and I want to get runs and I want to score and show that I should be here. Unfortunately, that probably does bring a little bit of fear into the equation as well. So, that's unfortunately just part of a new selection and guys maybe just being a little bit out of form and too scared to play the way that they know they should. So I think it's more of a mental thing against India. We had some guys who were in good form. We had great partnerships. We just didn't have that this series. And it could be a bit of form and maybe a bit of belief in the way that we want to play.
How's it, Mark? Your remaining, if I've got this right, your remaining World Cup Super League fixtures are against India, England, Australia, and then the Netherlands. And that almost rings an alarm bell. Do you hear alarm bells in terms of qualification?
Yeah, I think so. Look, the one positive is I really do believe that if we rock up, we stick to our game plans, we arrive there with confidence, we can beat anyone in the world. We've shown that in the World Cup in T20 cricket. So, it's basically the same personnel in our one-day team as well. So we've got a lot of things to talk about, a lot of things to discuss, and we'll have to do that. But also understanding that we've got the clientele in our change room to beat the best in the world. And, those teams that you mentioned, we have beaten them before, and we're going to have to beat them again in order to qualify. So, yeah, the alarm bells are always there, and we're putting ourselves under pressure. But I suppose we've got to come to the party.
Thanks very much, everyone. Please stand by for Teba.